Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. I'm Zuli. If you're new here, please do not forget to subscribe. And if you're one of my subscribers, I want to say a very big thank you for supporting my YouTube journey. So let's get started. In this tutorial, you're going to learn to create a very simple, responsive e-commerce website. You're going to be building all of this in this tutorial. So what this tutorial is going to cover, we're going to learn state management. You're going to learn how to create product list and display product card. We're also going to learn about product filtering and searching from the list of products. We're also going to learn to create a cart page and add product to cart, delete product from carts, increase and decrease the quantity of product in the cart. Then we're going to learn about how to create product details page. So let me walk you through what we're going to be building exactly. First off, we have the navigation bar. So on the navigation bar, you're going to have your logo here. This is a search input. Then we have two icons for the cart page and the account page. The navigation bar is a fixed navigation bar. So irrespective of where you scroll to, your navigation bar remains fixed. Okay. Then next we have the hero section. The hero section just has this. It's a very simple hero section, by the way. It just has this captivating text right here, then an image on the right hand side. Then we have our product lists. So we have each of the products right here. So in the product list, we have product cards. So in each of the product card, we have an image, we have the title of the product, the price of the product, and a button to add to carts, right? Then we have our footer. This is a very basic footer that we're going to be working with. So basically, that is what we're going to be doing. Now, let us get to the technicalities. First off, we have the search input. One thing about the search input is once you click on the search, the hero component is going to disappear. So let me just show you that. As you can see, once I click on the search, the hero section will appear no more. Then we can search for any product of our choice. So let me say I want to search for unisex. Can you see that? So we have unisex there. Also, let's say I've deleted all of this. Then we have every product list back intact. Okay, so you can click on this icon as well. Then that means we're no longer searching for anything. So every product will be displayed down to the hero section. So you can search for anything. Let's say you want to search for silver. Everything that has any item in the product list that has silver is just going to display. So we can cancel. That means we've stopped searching. Also, another thing we're going to learn here is how to add to carts. Okay, so let's say I want to add this product to carts. As you can see, the cart icon has changed. Okay, before, let me reload. Okay, can you see? Before it's showing, the cart is showing 0. That means no item is in the cart. But once you add the product to cart, it is showing you the number of items that you have in your cart. If I add another one, as you can see, it has updated. We have 2 items now in our cart, 3 items in our cart, 4 items in our cart. I can add as many as possible, right? And then if I click on the cart icon, I'm going to see everything in the cart. So this is shopping carts. We have 6 items in our cart. This icon is to delete the entire cart. Okay. Also in this cart page, you can see the image of what we added in the cart, the title of the product, that is the name of the product. There is a remove icon here with the text to remove the particular product from the cart. You can increase and decrease. So let me show you. As you can see, we have 7 items now in the cart because I increased this, and the price also has been updated. The main price of the item is $85. So because I increased it by 2, we have $170, and it has updated here in the total cost, right? So let's say I increase this as well. As you can see, this has been updated 225, and the total cost as well will be updated. So you can increase and decrease items from carts, and everything is going to be updated. So basically, this is it. So I can also remove from carts. Can you see that the item has been removed from the cart? I can remove this as well from the carts. That has also been removed from our cart. Then we can delete our entire cart. Now you can see our cart is empty. It is showing us that the cart is empty. So another thing we can also do here is to view our product details. You can view the product details by clicking on the image of the product or the title of the product. So if I click on the image, we have our products here. This is just the basic product details. You can add as many product details as possible depending on the product you're trying to display. So on the product details page, we have 2 sections, the left and the right. On the left, we have the image, and on the right, we have the title, the price, and a little text with a button to add to cart. This button is also working as well. So if you click on this button, the product has been added to the cart. Okay. Let's say we want to check the detail of this as well. This is where we have the image here, the product details here. We can also add this to cart as well. Okay, so basically that's what we're going to be building in this tutorial. That's what we're going to learn. Now, another thing here, as you can see, the navigation bar and the footer is fixed and it displays on every page. It displays on the cart page, right? Let me add more items to the carts. Can you see? You can add as many as possible. Navigation bar remains fixed. Navigation bar is and the cart, and the footer is also in the cart page. And then for the product details too, navigation bar is right there and the footer is right there. So without further ado, let's get started. This is going to be a very simple tutorial and I hope you understand. Please guys, do not forget to subscribe, and if you really like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also add your comment. Let me see what next you want me, the tutorial you want me to make.
So first thing you're going to do is to open your VS Code, then you navigate to your terminal. So in your terminal, you change directory to desktop. I have a folder for YouTube project, so I'm going to be creating this React app in the folder. So first off, I need to change my directory to YouTube project. So if you have any folder that you want to create your React app, just change directory to the folder. Then I'm going to run this command to create the React app. The name of this React app is wristwatch Ecommerce. So this is the command to create React app. Then you press enter. You need to make sure that you have internet connection for this to work. Now, after running that command, you're going to see this. So change directory to the name of the folder you just created. Then you run this command as well, npm install. Now we've successfully installed our React app. So I'll navigate to file, click on open folder. Then in my folder, I'll go to my desktop. So in my desktop, I'll look for the folder for YouTube project. Click on it, then look for wristwatch e-commerce website that I just created and select the folder. Now the folder is going to open in React. So I'll just cancel this. Now we're going to do some cleanups. First off, I don't need app.css. I'm going to delete that. Then I'm going to clean up my app.jsx. Control A, then backspace. So I use REFC to create, it's a shortcut to create a functional React app. Okay. So before you can use this REFC, you need to have this extension. The name of the extension is called ES7 React Redux React Native. Once you have this extension installed, you can use REFC as React shortcuts and every other shortcuts that we'll mention in this tutorial. So I'm just going to close this back, then back to my cleanup. For my index.css, I'm going to clean everything as well. Control A with backspace. For here, the roots, I'll set the margin to 0 and the padding as well to 0. We'll come back to that later. And in index.html, the name of our website is wristwatch e-commerce. So that's the title of the website. So I'll close this as well. Then let's go back. So right here, we have icons here. We have images and we have some data in our products data. So we need to install React icons. So here, open a new tab, React icons. Press enter. So we're installing the npm package for React icons. So just click on this. Then you'll be directed to this website. So copy this installation code, head back to your terminal and paste it in your terminal. Then click enter. Also, we need to install React Router DOM. So I want to install React Router DOM. React Router, let me just enter that. So click on React Router DOM, copy the installation code, and then you do the same. Paste it and click enter. So while the installation is going on, we need to get our images and then our data. So basically, these are the images I'll be using here for this tutorial. So I'm just going to copy every single one of them. Then I'm going to paste it in my asset folder. Replace, let's see. So we have all of that now in the asset folder. Every single one of the images that we'll be using for this tutorial. So in my SRC folder, I'm going to create a file for data.gss. Here I'm going to have all of my files. So I have my data already, so I'm just going to copy and paste everything here. Let me minimize this so you can see. So these are the images. I've already imported the images earlier. These are all the images that will go from our asset folder. This is an array of objects that we'll be using in the tutorial. These are the products data for each of them. So for each data, we have ID, image, title, price, category, and description. And we have 15 objects in this array. We're going to get back to that very soon. So now we need to check if our React app is working. We need to view it on our browser. So we're going to run this command npm run dev. Click enter as well. Now after running that, we're going to see this. Click on the link, and then this is working. We have our app here. So if I change this to hello world, let's see, hello world, we have it here, right? So that means our app is working. We can now continue with every other thing. So I'm just going to close this panel, and then first thing you need to do is to create your components. So I'm creating a component folder. Then I'm also going to create pages folder for all of our pages. So in the component folder, we're going to have several folders. We're going to have the navbar folder. The component folder, we're going to have the hero folder. We're going to have the footer folder. We're going to have the carts folder. We're going to have the product list folder. And then we're going to have the shop context folder. And then in the pages, we're going to have our own page folder. We're still going to have the product details folder. So what I'm going to do now for both components and pages, I'm going to create the GSX file for each of the folders. I'm going to create the GSX file, cat.gsx, and CSS file for each of them. So we're going to have cat.gsx, cat.css, right? So I'm going to create it for every single one of them. Then for the GSX, REFCE, to create a function, shortcut to create a functional React app, right? So I'm going to pause this video to create the GSX file and CSS file for footer, hero, navbar, product list, shop context, home pages, and product details. So I'm done with all of that. I've created the GSX and CSS file for each and every one of them. Now we need to start with the main code. So the first thing we're starting with is our navigation bar. I have my navbar here. Then let us start writing code. So here I'm deleting this. I'll create the div tag with the class name of navbar. Click enter. Then I'll create another div tag with the class name of nav logo. So the logo is going to be here. I would have another div tag with the class name of search. Our search input is going to be here, and I'll have another div tag with the class name of nav icon wrapper. Click enter. So for the nav logo, we're going to have an h2 tag, and it's going to take this logo here. And now to the search. So for the search, we have an icon. Let me show you. This is what we're trying to build. We have an icon here. We have search input here, and we have another icon here. So let me just cancel all of this. Okay. So here we're going to have the icon. Because we have installed React icon, you can just enter the name of the icon. Then React is going to suggest several icons relating to the icons that you just search for. So I'm choosing this first one, and I'm going to give it the class name of search icon. Then I'm just going to close this. As you can see, this has automatically imported the icon for me. So that is the icon. Next thing we're going to have is an input tag. So the type of this input is a text, because that's what we want to receive with the text. So actually for now we don't need the name and the ID because of what we're trying to get. Okay, so all we need is the placeholder. So the placeholder here is going to ask search for anything. Okay, and then we have another icon to cancel the search. So I'm just going to enter cancel, and I'll let the React do the work. React is going to suggest list of icons relating to cancel. So I'm using the second one, and I'm giving it a class name of cancel. So I'm going to close this, and then in my icon wrapper, click enter. I'm going to have a div with the class name of nav icon. So, no, sorry, the class name is going to be nav cards, because that is what we want. We want to work on the cards. That's what is going to be inside this div. So this is nav cards. Then I'm looking for an icon relating to cards. React is going to suggest for me. So I'm choosing this one, and I'm going to give it a class name of nav icon. Alright. Then after that, we're going to have a text with a class name of nav cards amount. That is what we display the amount of item in our navigation, in the cart that is in our navigation, right? So I'm just going to set the value to 0. We're going to reset the value later. So after this div that is for navcat, we also need to have another icon for user. So I'm just going to search for an icon for user. I'm using this first one, and I'm going to give it a class name of nav icon. Alright, so this is our navigation. In my app.gsx, I'm going to render my nav components. So this is going to have nav bar, right? So if we check what we're trying to do, this is it right here. The next thing we need to do is to style so that it's going to look like this. Now I'm going to open my navbar.css. Before that, I need to import my CSS file into my GSX file, navbar.css. So I'm starting with the navbar container itself. I'm using dots because it's a class name. So I'm going to set the padding to 30 pixels. I'm setting the padding inline to 80 pixels. Display is going to be flex. Justify content, space between each of the contents. So this is what we have now. Now we have an input here in our nav. Okay, so let us style this navbar or styling the input in our navbar. So I'm going to set the padding to 0.9 rem. That is going to go for the height, and the width will be 12 rem. Border radius is going to take 30 pixels. The border is going to take 2 pixels solid with this color code, and then position will be relative. Now we have the search icon inside the search container. So navbar search icon. The font size is going to be set to 24 pixels. Margin left is going to be set to 10 pixels. Position is going to be absolute. Z index will take 100. Margin top will take 12 pixels. Now, what else? We have this cancel here. So it's navbar, it's inside navbar, and it's inside the search container, and we have cancel. Okay. Position will also be absolute. The font size is going to be 30 pixels. Margin left for this is going to take minus 36 pixels. And margin top will take 7 pixels. What else? We have this nav icon wrapper container. Now for the nav icon wrapper container, display here is going to be flex. What else do we have? Inside of it, we have the nav icon. So there are two icons here with the class name of nav icon. So we're styling both at the same time. So here, we're styling nav icon. Okay, let me go back and copy it again properly. Come on, what is wrong with you? Now for nav icon, the font size will be set to 34 pixels. And the margin left will be set to 35 pixels. What else do we have? We have this nav cat here, which is a container that has the cat icon and the cat icon amount. So for this nav cat, display will be set to flex. Position will be set to relative. Cursor will be set to pointer. And then we have the nav cat amount. For the nav cat amount, background color will be set to this color code. Position will be set to absolute. Right will be set to minus 8 pixels. Oh, right. Minus 8 pixels. The font size will be set to 12 pixels. The height will be set to 20 pixels. The width will be set to 20 pixels as well. The text color will be set to this color code. And the border radius is going to be set to 50% because I want it as a circle. Display will be flex. And then justify content center. We want all the items to be in the center. And then we have our search. Right now, we've not worked on this functionality because here, if you click on search, the arrow component disappears. We're going to get to that very soon. But this is our navigation bar right now. So the next thing we need to work on is our hero section. And also, remember that our navbar here is fixed. So let us work on that first before we get to the hero section. So that's our navbar.jsx. One thing we need to check here, the code we want to write down is to use an event listener to know if we scroll on the y-axis more than 100 pixels. Okay, if for more than 100 pixels, there is something that we want to happen. We want the position of the navigation bar to be fixed. So we're using an event listener and we're using the scroll function. So here I'm going to start with window.add event listener. What we're working with is scroll. Then I'm creating a function. Alright. So in our function, I'm creating a variable for navbar. That's what we'll be using. And we need the CSS property, which is going to be this navbar right here. So how do we get that? If you remember in our JavaScript, document.query selector, what we're selecting, what we're working with is our navbar. What we want to check exactly is our navbar. Now we're going to have that navbar that we just created now, this variable, okay, the class list, the toggle. So now, if we toggle, that means if we scroll down, that's what we want to check. When it is active, I'm giving it, this is what we're doing, this is the property that we want to style, okay. So here we'll have window.scroll. If you scroll on y-axis, that means if you scroll down or scroll up, and if you're scrolling, it's more than 100 pixels, okay. We want this active. We're going to style this active now. So now back to our CSS. So we want to style navbar.active. That's what we want to style. Padding here will take 20 pixels. Justify content, space between, or space around. Position, that is the main thing we want to work on. Fixed. The top will be set to 0. Z index will be set to 1000. We want it to appear on every other thing. The width is 100%. And the background color is going to take this color code, F9, more like an off-white. And transition will be 0.5 seconds. Okay, for now, we're not going to see that effect because we're not scrolling anywhere yet. We don't have anything right here. Only when we have like more stuff, that's when we're going to see this. So let us work on our area section and every other stuff so we can see what we just did. Now, there's something I want you to understand before we move further. Our hero section, this is our own page. This page actually is our own page. This is our cart page, right? Oh, sorry. This is our product details page. They are pages, but this is our main home page. So if you can see, we have our navigation bar in our own page. We have our hero section in our own page. We have our product list in our own page, and we have footer as well. But the footer exists. The nav bar and the footer are everywhere. So that means that our nav bar and our footer is going to be in our app.js. We're going to render it there. And then the hero section is going to be in the home page. The product list is going to be in the home page. Okay, let's code for you to understand it. Let's work on our hero section now. So I'm just going to close these two files. I'm done with them. Now to the hero section. So first off, I'm going to clear this and I'll create a div tag and give it a class name of hero. And then I'm going to create another div and give it a class name of hero content. This is going to have the content in our hero. For the hero section, we have the left and the right. The left hand side is where we have the text. The right hand side is where the image is. So I'm going to create another div tag with a class name of hero left, and then a div tag as well with a class name of hero right. Okay, so on the left hand side, we're going to have an h1 tag that will take this text, and then we're going to have a p tag that will take this text as well. So that is for the left hand side, and for the right hand side is where we have our image. So in our asset folder, this is the image we're using for our hero. This is the image that we're using. So let me just close this. Now we need to import the image from our asset folder. So I'm giving it hero image from our asset folder, and the name of the image is hero.png. Let me show you what I mean. This is it, hero.png. This is it here. So the name we give it here is hero image, right? So here we're going to replace this with curly braces and then paste it here. The height name will also take hero image. I think that should just make it okay. Now, I said earlier that our hero section is going to be in our own page. Okay, so this is our own page. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to have our hero section here in the home page. I'm going to render the hero component in the home page. So this is it. Right now we can't see nothing, right? Let's fix that. We'll go to our app.gsx, and here we need to define routes. We're going to use React router. We're going to use route to define different routes in our application. So we're going to use routes. So we're going to use routes. That's what we're using to define different routes in our application. Then we'll use the main routes. I'm going to show you now, and we're going to map the paths. Okay. So before that, we need to import routes and routes. It sounds like I'm saying the same thing. So here is routes with an S from React router DOM, right? I'm also importing routes from React router DOM. So now we have the route with an opening and closing tag. So the first route we're going to have now, we're going to map the path to the base URL. I believe that if you're watching this tutorial is for people that have basic knowledge in React. So it won't get confusing if you don't have any knowledge at all. Please try and understand routing before you continue. So here what I want to do now is to route and map the path to the base URL, which is going to serve as our home page. Okay. So here I'm going to have routes. Close this first, then back at it. The path here is going to take a forward slash. This is for the base URL. Alright, and now the element we want to render here is going to be our home page components. Our home page itself. Okay. Now I need to import home page from pages. Okay. So now, before our continuation, now in our main.gsx, we need to wrap our app around browser router. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is Control X, right? So I'm going to have browser router. Close this tag. Then I'm going to paste what I just cut now. Control V. Alright. Now right here, I'm going to import browser router from React router DOM as well. So I'm importing browser router. So once I'm done with that, then everything will be working perfectly well. Here I've already created a route, and the path is to the base URL, and the elements that we want as our base URL is our home page. And inside the home page we have our hero. So let us see on our website if the hero is going to show. So this is it. This is the image looking so big and sleek, and this is the text here as well. Now I'm going to close my home page. We need to style our hero section. Remember that we need to import our CSS file into our JSX file. So this is the CSS, this is the JSX. Let's start. We're starting with this. What is wrong with my mouse? Okay. We're starting with this. The height will be set to 60 VH, and the padding for the hero container itself, 25 pixels. Now to hero contents. For hero contents, display will be flex. Padding inline is going to take 110 pixels. The gap between the left and the right will take 30 pixels. Justify content space between. And the background color is going to be orange, my third favorite color. And then the border radius will be set to 10 pixels. Margin top here will be set to minus 20 pixels. What next? We have the left section. So for hero left, the max width will take 50%, and the margin top will be 100 pixels. Remember that we have an H1 tag in the left container. So hero left, and we have H1. Let's style. The font size is going to take 4.5 rem, and the margin top is going to take 10 pixels. Also, we have a paragraph type. So the font size of that as well will be set to 18 pixels. The color will take this color code, and the margin top will be 15 pixels. Now to the right, copy this, paste it in hero.css. Oh, come on. So for the right, the max width as well will be set to 50%. Remember that we have an image in the right. Oh, sorry. arrow right, the image, we're going to have a width of 640 pixels and the height of 500 pixels. Object fit is going to be contain, contain, and then the margin top will be minus 15 pixels. And we have it here. We can also click and do it. What next? Next thing here is our product lists. So we need to create our product list and each of our products card. So I'm just going to close this and close this. Then close this as well. Product lists. Okay, basically this is data that we're going to be using for our product list. The image is here, the title, the price, the category, blah blah blah. Everything is right here. But there's something we have that we call the context provider. That is the first thing we need to work on. And this is short context here. What this context provider do is that we use it to manage and share state data across components without cross drilling. Okay, we're going to use this short context to provide data to our product list. We're going to use it to manage states in our carts. We're going to use it in our search bar. Basically, this is like the powerhouse of this page of this e-commerce website. Okay, so we're going to use it to manage states and to share data to avoid props drilling. So we have to start with short context before we move to product lists. So let's all start the work. So here I'm going to create import react. Import reacts from React, right? Okay, we also need to import from React as well. We need to import create context. We need to import use states, and we need to import use effects. We're going to use all of these here. Next thing we need to do is create context. I like to write comments in my short context so that I understand when I go back to the page. So here we're exporting our context so we can use it in other components, right? So here creating short context. I'll give it the name of short context. Create context. Okay. Then I need to import my product data, basically my shop data. Import product data. So I need to import product data products with an S from data. Okay, so this is the data and this is products data, right? So that's what we just did here. We just imported product data. As you can see, if you hover on it, you can see that we have all of this here. Okay, so now let us get to the next step. The next step is to define a context provider that will wrap around the part of the application that needs access to the states and provide the states to its children components. I'm going to explain all of this very soon, but let us get to the business of day first. So here I'm just defining a context provider. I'm going to name it shop context provider. Shop context provider. And this is going to take children. Okay. Now we're going to export default shop context provider. Okay. Now I'm going to return right here. I'm going to return the shop context provider that will wrap around the children components. So here I'm returning shop context dot provider. Okay, and this is going to wrap around the children component. So this is going to have children. Now the shop context dot provider is going to have value, and I'm going to pass the value as prop that will contain the states and the functions. Okay, so here I'm going to pass value. So here I'm going to pass value as prop. So value For now, we don't have anything as our value. Okay, so let us work on that. Now, before anything, we need to go to our root. Then we need to wrap our app in. We need to wrap shop context provider around our app. So Control X. We're going to have shop context provider. React is already suggesting that. So we're going to wrap this. We're going to wrap our app around this. Let me just. Okay. So basically, that's what we just did. So once you're done with that, just close it. And now we are back to our shop context. Now, we want to work with our product data. We want to get our product list and all of that. So here, press enter. Go back to this. I'm going to create a state variable for products and the setter function that will update the products. And my use state is going to take products data. Let me show you what I mean. Const products, comma, my setter function, set products, and my use states is going to be products data. Okay. So right here in the value, remember I said earlier that I'm passing value as a prop and it is going to contain the states and the functions. Okay. So here the value that will be here is going to be products. Okay. Alright, so let me briefly explain the entire code. So context API, what it does basically in React is that it helps to manage and share states and data across components without props drilling. So first off, I started with importing React from React. I imported the create context, use states, and use effects. We're going to use all of that very soon. Okay, so the use states, the create context hook is to create context, the use state is to manage state, and the use effects is for side effects. Like if you do this, this is what you should get. Next thing I did is context creation, which is here, this line here, right? I created a new context and I named it shop context, and as well I used export shop context. So I exported it so that other components can use it and have access to shared states. Then the next thing I did here is to import product data from my data file, which contains an array of product objects. That is basically the data that we're going to be using in our product list. That's the data that we're going to be using when we want to add to cart, all of this stuff. That is the data we use for our product details as well. Then the next thing I did here was to define a context provider, and I named it shop context provider, right? And it wraps around the application here in my main.gsx. I wrap the shop context provider around my app.gsx. Okay, so I wrap it around so that any other component that needs it can have access to it. So, and I provided it with states to the children component here. I pass this children here. It's more like a parameter. Okay. Then right here for this side, I created a state variable, named products, and a setter function for set products that is going to update the products. And I used product data in the use states. Okay. Next thing I did here was to return shop context provider that wraps around the children here. Okay. So it wraps around the children components, and I passed the value here as props that will contain the states and the function that will provide here. Okay, then lastly, I exported short context provider, right? Once I'm done with this, let me close my data. I can now proceed with my product lists. Okay, let me delete this. Then I'm going to create a div tag and give it a class name of product list. Div for product lists. We're going to have an h2 tag and it's going to take this text. Then I'm going to create another div tag with a class name of product grid. That is what will contain our product card. We're going to come back to that now. First off, we need to extract product data. We need to extract product from our shop context using the use context hook. Okay, so right here, first I need to import context before I can use context hook. Okay, so here I need use context, right? Then now I need to import my context. Import shop context from shop context. Okay, And also right here, I need to extract my product from the shop context using the use context hook. So right here, I'm going to have, oh, that's caps lock, const products. I'm trying to extract my products from shop context hook. Use context. And what I want to use is our shop context. Okay. Now we can work. We can continue with our work. First off, we need to map through our products and iterate over each of the products in the product array. This is our products. We need to map through all of the products and iterate over each of the products in the product array. Okay. Remember that I extracted these products here from shop context, and in shop context, what we're using basically in this product is our product data. Now back to our product lists. So in our product grid, I'm going to have a mapping, right? So I'm going to have product dot map pass products. Now we're going to have this. I would explain now. We need the image, we need title, we need price, and everything will be assigned to products. Let me explain what I did just now. What I did is that I destructured the ID, image, title, and price property from the product objects. The ID, the image, the title, and the price property. Okay, that is what I did here. Then we can now return. I'm creating a div tag, and I'm going to give it a class name of product cards. That is for each of the products. So div with a class name of product card. Okay. And here in the product card, I need to have a unique identifier for each product. So I'll have key, and the unique identifier is going to be the ID. So we want to identify each of the products based on their ID. Then I'm going to have in each of the products card, what I want to have is an image. So this image here is going to take image that we have destructured earlier, and the class name is going to be product image. Class name product image. We're going to have an image. We're going to have product info, right? So I'm creating a div tag with the class name of product info. And in the product info, we're going to have our h4 tag, which is going to take the title, the product title. We're also going to have the p tag that is going to serve, that's going to take the price, right? Then after the product info, what we need to have next is a button that was going to tell us to add to carts. Add to carts. Okay. So this is everything we have. We started by importing shop context. Then we extracted our product from our shop context. Then we have this h2 tab. It created the div tag for product grid. We mapped the products, and here we're having the products. Then we destructured the ID, the image, title, price, property from our products, and then we return a product card, an image, product info, and all of that. So remember that our product list is inside our home page. Okay, so we're going to render our product list in our home page. So we're back here, go back to the home page, and then we're going to have products list. Then we'll close this. So this is everything that we have. We have to style this. This is what it is looking like this. So it's looking, the images are quite big, so let us style. I'm going to open, so let me close the home page. Then I'm going to open my product list, come back here. I'm going to import my CSS, import the / product list the CSS into my JSX, right? So I'm starting with product list. Now, for product list, come on mouse, stop this. Select this. Sorry. Okay. The max width, I'm going to set it to 1200 pixels. Margin padding is going to take 20 pixels. I want all the text to be in the center. and the margin top is going to take 80 pixels. Remember our product list has an H2 tag, so margin bottom for that is going to take 20 pixels. The color is going to take this color code, and the font size is going to take 2 rem. Next thing is our grid layout for the product card. Now for our grid layout display, it's going to be grid template column. So in each column, repeat, autofill, so min max, minimum and maximum value is going to be 250 pixels, 1FR. Okay. And the gap between each of the product card is going to take 20 pixels. What is the next thing here? We need to have our product card itself, each of the products. So for the product card, the background color is going to be white. The border is going to take 1 pixel solid with this color code. The border radius is going to take 8 pixels. The padding is going to be 15 pixels. And the transition, I don't think any transition in this case. Okay, what next? The product image. So for the product image, max width, I'm going to set it to 100% of each of the cards. The border radius is going to take 8 pixels. Margin bottom is going to be 10 pixels. The height of the product is going to be 250 pixels. Transform, scale 0.9, and then transition, transform, TRANSFORM, yeah, 0.2 seconds, easing out. Okay, now we need to work on the over effect of the product image. So when you hover on the card, okay, we have 2 dots here, that is a mistake. So you hover on the card, transform the scale, I'm going to set it back to 1. Now what next? We have our product info. So for the product info, we have our H4 elements, right? The font size is going to be 1.2 rem. This is the title of the product. Margin is going to take 10 pixels and then 5 pixels. The color of the product is going to, the color of the title of the product is going to take this color code. Also, the product info has a P tag, which is serving as the price. Where we have the price, sorry, 1.3 rem should do it. And the color is going to take this color code. Next thing we have is our button. Let me give this button a class name because we're going to have button elsewhere of add to carts. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, head back to my product list.css. So for the button, display is going to be block. Width is 100% of the product card. Padding is going to be 10 pixels. The background color is going to be white. The text color is going to be black. Oh, sorry. The background color is going to be orange. Let me see. So I'm just going to comment this out. Let me see what we're trying to be. Okay, the background color is orange. Is when you hover on it that the background color becomes white. There's the border around it. So the background color is orange. Or you hover on it, the border around it is going to be orange and the background is going to be white. So I'm just going to delete this. The background is not white, the background is orange. And then the border radius is 5 pixels. Cursor here will set a pointer. The font size of the text, let's not forget that. 1rem. And margin top will take 10 pixels. Now transition for the background color. So 0.3 seconds is in out as well. Now if you over, let's look at the over effects. If you over on the add to carts, oh, I copied it. I'm sorry. So if you over on the add to carts, the border is what is going to, border is 1 pixel solid orange. Okay, and the background becomes transparent, right? So let's see, as you can see, this is it right here. Oh, what have we done? Let me see. Okay, we didn't have over here. So when you over, so okay. I still need to set the border to none because we have this. So border here is none. Let us see. And now we have it like this. It's looking ugly and beautiful. If you over on this, as you can see, it transforms. The image was smaller before and it's a little bit bigger now. If you over on the button, this is what you get, this is what you have, right? So this is the product lists. Now, this is what we're trying to do, right? Okay, it's very much alike. In short, it is the same thing, right? Okay, let us see what next that we need to work on. Add to cart, we're going to get to that. Okay, let us work on the search property first off. Let us work on the search property. So you can search for any item of your choice in the products. And if you don't have any of the items, it's going to display empty cart. So if I search for a product that starts with Y or has Y, so no product is found. Okay, but for us, we have products that are silver wristwatches and all of that. Let's say I want to search for unisex, we can get that here. Now we need to work, and if we cancel this, everything is back to how it was before. Okay, so but wait, I noticed something. Our number is not fixed. Here our number is fixed. Our number is not fixed. Let us see. Okay, on my navbar, let me open this. What is the issue? Okay, here we're working on scroll, right? If you're scrolling on y-axis, so let's see. Now it is now fixed. What else is the problem? Okay, so now we have it like this. Okay, or what is the problem again? The CSS property. Okay, let me just comment out this transition. Okay, so our number is now fixed. The mistake I made earlier was scroll. We were supposed to scroll and type screen. Now we need to work on our search property. Okay, let's head back to our navbar. We're heading back to our shop context and let's just code it out. So I'm going to close this and now for our shop context.gsx. Now I'm going to create a state variable for filtered products and a setter function that will update our filtered products. Basically, what we want to do here, what we're trying to work on is this search, the filtering process and the searching process. So we have to filter before we display the products that matches whatever our user types in the input fields. Okay. Now I'm creating a variable for filtered products, FILT, okay, filtered products, and a setter function set filtered products. And then our use state is going to take products data. Okay. Now we need to create a function that will be responsible for filtering the list of products based on the user search query. And we also need to update the state of the filter product with a list of products whose title match the search query. Okay, so what we're going to do is to create a function, and the function is going to be responsible for the list of products based on whatever our user types in the search input in the navigation bar. And we're going to update the state of the products that we're going to display with a list of products that the title matches whatever the user types in the search inputs. Okay, let us write the code and I'll explain alongside. So I'm creating a function and I'm going to name it search product. So here, let me write the comments. I'm creating a function to search products, right? So now we're going to have const and the name is going to be search products. And I'm going to pass in query as our parameter, which will represent the search term entered by the user in the search inputs. So the query is going to represent the search term entered by our user in the search input. So let's continue. So now I'm going to check if, since query is representing the search term, I want to check if query is empty. If it is empty, we'll set our filter products to the products. That means we'll display the default, like we display all the list of products. So I'm using an if statement. If query equals to an empty string, if it is, that means if the user types nothing. So I'm going to update the set filtered products with products. Okay, I'm going to explain this very soon. And also, we use an else statement to check for otherwise, like if the case is otherwise. So we're going to check if the case is otherwise. So if filtered equals filtered, okay, products dot filter. I'm also going to pass products here as the parameter, and then we're going to have, sorry, we're going to have products dot title. I want to convert this to lowercase, okay, dot include. I want to explain that very soon. If it includes the query to that we converted to lowercase, hey, lowercase, not lowercase, sorry, to lowercase, okay. If it is, then we're setting our filtered products. We're going to update our filtered products using this data function to filtered. Okay, let me explain. Okay, this is the actual code. This is the code, which is the function that will be responsible for filtering the list of products based on the user search query, like based on whatever the user types in the search input, and it will update the state of the filtered products with a list of products whose title matches the search query. I said that earlier. Okay, so now I created a function, this, and I gave it a name, and I named it search products, right? And I passed the parameter query, which represents the search term entered by the user in the search input. So whatever our user enters, this is what is representing it here in our code. Now, in this function, I used an if statement. This ends here. This if statement ends here. Okay. I use an if statement to check if the query is empty. That means if the user types nothing, like there's nothing in the search inputs, we will call the set filtered products, right? And we're going to set it back to products. That means I want to display all our products. If the search input is empty, we're going to display all our products. That means that the user is not doing anything with the search. The user is not searching anything. Okay. Now I use an else statement here, if otherwise. Okay. So that's why I use an else statement. So for this else statement, I'm also checking right here. I'm very sorry, my mouse is acting somehow. I'm also checking if the query is not empty, which is where the else starts from. If the query is not empty, I created a variable and I named it filtered, which will store the following. This is the variable here that I created. I named it filtered, and it's going to store the following. First, we need to look through the product array and filter the product based on this condition here. Here, we're looking through the product array and we're filtering the products based on the condition here. Now, let me explain this condition. The condition is that we convert the title of the product title, that's products.title to lowercase, to check if the and first off, we converted the product title to lowercase for case sensitivity. I believe you understand that. So I converted the product title to lowercase and check if the query which we just converted is included in the product title. That is why we use dot includes here. Okay, we're checking if the query in the product title, we're checking if the query which we just converted is included in the product title. So after filtering, we now use the set filtered products here. The set filtered products, we use that to update the state of the filtered product. So it will only show the product that matches the search query. So basically, what we did is created a function to search the products. Then we checked if it is empty. If it's empty, we're displaying all of our products. But if it is not, we want to filter through our products, then convert the title of the product title to lowercase and check if what our user types in matches any of our product title. If it does, we're going to display these filters. Okay, we're going to display the item that matches what the user search. Now I'm going to head over to the nav bar where we're going to make use of what we just did, the search product here. But before that, we need to add this here to the values that we want every other component to be able to access, because we're going to use the search product function and the set filter function in our navigation bar. So here I'm going to have filtered products, and then the search products. Okay, now we're back to the navigation bar. Now, since we're getting our function from short context, I need to import shop context, from shop context, right? Okay, now first off, we need to extract our search products function from shop context. Okay, so here I'm going to export search product function, SEARCH, search products function, and I'm extracting it from the context we're using here is our shop context. Shop context. Okay, we've done this, we've achieved this. Also, I need to create a state variable that will track the current value of the search input, like whatever our user types. Now I'm going to name it query. Remember, I said earlier that the query that I passed here as a parameter is what is representing the search term, whatever our user search. So here, I'm going to create a state variable that will track the current value of the search input. I'll create, then I'll create a setter function as well to update query. So whatever the user types, the setter function is going to update query, and I'll set it to input. I'll set the input to empty. Okay. So here I'm creating a state variable, name it query, and a setter function for set query. And here I'm going to set it to an empty string. Okay. Then I need to create a function that will be triggered whenever the user types something in the search input. We have to create a function that will be triggered whenever the user types anything in the search inputs. And I'm going to pass event as the parameter, then I'll update the query using set query. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. You know what the function that will be triggered? Let me write a comment here. Function to be triggered whenever the user types anything. So the name of the function is going to be undo search, const undo search. And I'm going to pass the parameter which is going to be events and event listener. So here we want to update our query events.targets.value. What we're targeting is our value. Then our search products is going to be event.targets. I'm going to explain this very soon. Dot value. Oh, come on. Value. Okay. So what I did here basically is that I created a function and I named it undo search. This function will be triggered whenever our user types something in the search input. And I passed events as the parameter. Now, within this function here, what I did was that I updated our query using set query to the current inputs. Remember that our query is what represents the search term, like whatever the user types in. So I updated the query using set query to the value. Our target is the value, like the current value, the current input value. Let me put it that way. Then I called the search products here from the shop context here. Remember, I extracted the search product from shop context. So within this function that is responsible for that is to be triggered when the user types something, I called the search products from the shop context. I want to filter the products based on the input value. So what this is going to do is whatever our user types in our inputs here, we're going to get there very soon. This is our input. Whatever value our user types in, we're updating it here in the search query. And for this search products, we want to filter the result, what should be displayed based on the value that our user has entered. Okay. So next up, now to the input itself. The type is text. I want the code to look in it. So the value that this is going to take is going to be query. Remember I said that query is what represents the search term. Okay. Now I'm going to use an unchanged function because we want to really change. We keep like user will search. That means that we're going to change the value in the search input. It can be an empty value. It can be a value. It can be a text. It can be a sentence. So I'm going to use unchange. And then in the unchange, I'm going to pass the undo search function, the function that is to be triggered whenever the user types anything. Okay, now let us see. Right here, if I type Unisys, let's see, it's not working now because in our products list, what we mapped is our product, not the filtered product. So we need to change that. Now I'll go back to my products list, and then I'm going to make few updates here. So here Instead of products, this is going to be filtered products. Filtered products. DUCTS. Okay. So now that is what we are going to map with. So let me just copy this. Let me see if the text is correct. Let me paste this, get back to this, and Ctrl Z, sorry, and paste it here. Okay, filtered products. The spelling is correct. So we're changing this. What we're mapping is our filtered products. Okay. Now that we've made the changes, let's see. So let me click on this. Let's say I want to search for unisex. As you can see, we have just unisex. So let's say I want to search for silver. Everything that has to do with silver will be displayed. So that is just it. So now we are here to work on this icon. Let's see, I search for unisex. If I click on this icon, we're supposed to have every product since I'm done searching. Okay, let's work on that. Now, before we do this, we need to, let me show you. If you click on this, the hero becomes invisible. But if you cancel, the hero becomes visible and all of that. So we need to work on this visibility first. Okay, before we work on this cancel button icon rather. So we head back to shop context. Right here, now I forgot to add the semicolon. Now we want to work on hero visibility. Okay, so here I'm creating a state variable for hero visible and the start function for that will set the visibility. So we're going to have hero visible here. We're going to have a setter function set hero visible, right? And our use state, this is going to be true. It's going to be true. Okay, and here our value, we're going to have the visibility as well. We're going to have hero visible, comma, set hero visible. Remember that the value here we passed it as a prop, and that is what is holding our state and our setter functions. Okay, now we're done with this. Now we can head back to products, to navbar. And here as well, we are going to extract the setter function to update the visibility. So here, set hero visible. We're extracting it from our use context, our shop context. Sorry. Now we need to work on the visibility of the hero section so that when our user clicks on the search input, the hero section disappears. But when our user clicks on that cancel button, the hero section reappears and it displays every other product. It displays the products that our user searches for. Okay. Now I'm going to create a function that would handle this. So I'm going to name the function click, and I'm going to set our hero visible to false. And this is going to hide the hero when the search bar is clicked. So let me get to that right here. Let me add a semicolon to this. So I'm creating an click function that is going to hide the hero when the search bar is clicked. Okay. Now set hero visible. We're going to set it to false. And write a comment. This is a function that would make our hero disappear when the search input is clicked. Now, we also need to create another function for cancel click that will make our hero section reappear when the user cancels the search or clicks outside the search bar. Okay, function to make hero section reappear when user cancel search operation. Right? So I'm going to name the function undo cancel click. This function not taking any parameter. So here we're setting our hero visibility to true. Okay. Now we're going to head to our hero file itself. First off, I'm going to extract our hero visible from our shop context. So I need to import shop context into this. Import shop context. Right? Now here is the main thing. We need to extract our hero visible from subcontext. Now I'm going to use an if statement. So if we want to hide the row section, if is visible is false. Okay, that is if error visibility is false. So if error visibility is false, if error visibility is false, we want to return null. Okay, and then remember that remember our error in our own page. So here we're also going to extract error visible from shop contexts. Okay, so I need to import shop context first off. Import shop context. Then here, Ctrl X. So okay, before that, we need to extract error visible from shop context. Now, Ctrl X. Then we just need to do this. If error is visible, error visible. Display the hero. Now that we're done with this, we're going to head back to our navbar. Now the main changes that we want to get. So here we're going to use an onClick function, and we're going to call an onClick statement, and we're going to call this function and make the hero disappear. So here onClick, undo click, undo click. That means that the hero is going to disappear. And in this cancel icon, we're going to use an onClick as well. OnClick, this is undo cancel click. So now we're on our page. If I click on this space, the error has disappeared. And if I click on cancel, everything is back to normal. So if I click on this and I search for any item, any search, anything that has an L in it, anything that has a U in it, anything that has an S, let's say I want to look for smartwatch, let's say I want to look for silver watch, can you see? And then when I click on this, everything is back to normal. So basically, this is for the search icon. The next thing we need to work on now is our add to cart. We need to be able to add an item to cart. Okay, that's what we're going to work on right now. I'm going to close this now, close my own page as well, close the product list so we can focus on our carts. Let me close all of this as well. Okay, so I'm going to place my cart context inside the shop context because the shop context typically holds information about the available product. So integrating the cart context allows the cart to directly access and interact with product related states. Okay, so we're going to be having our cart context in the shop context. Okay, so let's get to it. First off, I'm going to initialize the cart state as an empty string array to store items added to cart. So I'll be creating a state variable for cart and a setter function for set cart. So let me write a comment cart states. So I'm going to have this a state variable for cart and a setter function to set the cart. And I'm going to initialize the cart state as an empty array. So here, use state is going to be an empty array. Also in the cart, we need the item amount and the total price. That is the final price. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll create another state variable for the item amount and the setter function for set item amount. I'm also going to create another state variable for total and a setter function for set total. So here, I'm going to have for item amounts and set item amount. And the use state for this one, I'm going to set it to 0. Now for the total price, I'm also going to set the use state here. It's going to be 0 as well. So this one right here, I created a state variable for item amount and a setter function for set item amount to update the item amount. This is going to track the total number of items in the carts. And for the total here, I created a state variable for total and a setter function for set total. And this, I set it to 0. And this is going to track the total price of all the items in the cart. So the difference between this and this is that this is tracking the total price of items, while this is tracking the items in the cart. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to create a function that handles adding a product to carts. So here I'm going to write a comment, and this is going to be adding products to carts. Then I put a function that handles adding products to carts. So first I'll define a function and I'm going to name it add to carts, and it's going to take two parameters, product and ID, because we're adding products to carts based on the ID. So right here I'm creating a function and I'm naming it add to carts, add to carts. And this is going to take two parameters, product and ID. Then I'm going to create a new object and I'm going to name it new item, and it's going to store this. So I'm creating a new object and I'm giving it a name, new item, and it's going to store this. So I'll open my curly braces, products and amount, and we're going to set to 1. So what I did here basically, right here, what I did was I created a new object, then I used the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the product object, meaning that it copies all the key value pairs of the product object. Then I added a new property called amount and I initialized it with 1. Now I need to create another function that handles adding items in the cart and also check if the item already exists in the cart. So the name of this new function is going to be called cart item. So here, cart item, I want to check if the item already exists in the cart. So I'm using the find method to check. Then it will return item based on the ID. I'm going to explain this now. Okay, so I omitted this here. Alright, let me close it. And we don't have error anymore. Okay. So basically what I did here was I created another function that handles adding item in the cart and to also check if the item already exists in the cart. So I used the find method right here. What I did was I used the find method to search through the cart array and find any item that matches with the item. So basically, if we find any item that matches with the current item in the cart, that matches with the current item with the cart and its ID, the item in the cart, if we find any item that matches with the current item in the cart and also matches with its ID, and we also want to check if it matches with the product that is being added. So let's say we already have an item in the cart, the item has an ID. We want to check if the new item that is being added matches with the ID, if the product that is being added matches with the existing product. So we're using ID. So it's going to return the item will be added to the cart. Okay. So if the cart truly exists, we need to update its quantity. So that is the next thing we're going to do now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to create a variable. What I want to check after we have checked if the existing product in the cart matches with the new product in the cart using ID. This is the code for that. Now the next thing we need to do is that if it truly exists, we need to update the quantity. Okay, so I'm going to create a new variable and I'll give it new cards and I'm going to store the following. So I'll use an if statement to check first. So now let me write a comment. If the item truly exists, let's update the quantity. So I'm going to use an if statement to check if there's any item in the cart. If cart item, so we're going to have the following code. I'm creating a new variable and I'll give it the name new carts and I'm going to store the following. New carts. So we're using the spread operator here. Carts, we're going to map. I'm going to explain that item. Now here we're going to check if the item that exists in the carts based on the ID is equals to the new item that we have, that we're trying to add. We want to return, use a spread operator to create another shallow copy. I'm going to explain that now. So we want to return the item and the amount. So here we need to have cart item, the amount plus 1. and then we use an else statement to check if otherwise it should return the item. ELSE. Okay, return URN. Okay, it should return the item. And now right here, we're going to update our carts with the new carts. Okay, I'm going to have an else statement here as well. Else, we want to set our carts, set carts. And I'm going to use the spread operator as well. Okay, carts and new item. All right, let me explain what I just did here. So what I did here is that, first off, right here, we checked if we have an item in our cart, and if the ID of the item we have in our cart exists with the product that want to add in the cart. We want to return the ID. We want to return the item based on ID. Okay. So if it truly exists, we need to update the quantity, and that is what just happened here. So I created a variable. I used an if statement to check if there's any item at all in the cart. Then I created a variable and I gave it a name new cart, and I used the spread operator to create a shallow copy right here. Okay, I used the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the cart array. Then I used the map method to iterate over each item in the cart array. Okay, and also I use an if statement to check if the ID of the current item right here. Okay, if the ID of the current item matches the ID of the item being added, then I want to increase the quantity, which is the amount of the item, by 1. That's what I did here. Okay, so here I'm checking if the ID of the current item matches the ID of the item being added. So the current item is the item we already have in our cart. Okay, if it matches the ID of the item that we're just adding now. Okay, then right here, what I want to return is that I want to increase the quantity of the item by 1. Okay, else, so if otherwise, if the ID of the current item does not matches the ID that we're adding now, the new item that we're adding to cart, it should just return the item. So, and I use the set cart, which is the setter function for our cart state, to update the new carts. Alright, that's what I did here. And here is an else statement here. So if otherwise, if this is otherwise, is going to run this else code right here. So the next thing we're going to do now, since we're done with adding items to cart, the next thing we're going to do is to create a function that will be responsible for removing an item in the cart. So I'm going to define a function and I'll call it remove from cart, and it's going to remove an item from cart based on the ID. So let's get to that. So here, function to remove item from cart. Okay, so I'm giving it a name, remove from cart. I'm going to pass ID as the parameter because that is what we're using. Now, here, new carts. I want to filter the carts, carts.filter. This is also a function. I'm passing item as a parameter. I'm going to explain that very soon, just now. Return, it should return item the ID if it is not equal to it. Okay, return. Alright, and then we want to set our carts to the name carts. Alright, let me explain what I did just now. First off, I created a function. This is the function I created here. Okay, and I gave it a name, remove from carts, and it took a single parameter, which is an ID, and the ID represents the unique identifier of the item that you want to remove from the cart. Okay, but I use the filter method to create a new array right here. I use the filter method to create a new array for new carts that will remove the item that matches with the ID, and we'll use the set carts to update the new carts. Okay, so here, that is what I did. We want to remove the item that matches with the ID. So that is what we did, and we use the set carts to update the new carts. Right? So once we're done with this now. The next thing we need to work on is to clear our entire cart. What we did here, the function that we created here is to remove a particular item from the cart. Now what we're doing next is to create the function that will clear our entire cart. So here, function to clear carts. So I'm giving it I created a variable, a function, and I'm giving it a name, clear cut. This is not going to take any parameter, and then I'm going to set our cut to an empty array. So this is just going to remove the cut. So this is a very simple function to empty the cat array. I named it clear cat, or this should be outside. Right? I named it clear cat. So the clear cat function will take no parameter, and we're going to use the set cat to update the cat state with an empty array. So that is basically what we did. So now the next thing we need to do is to calculate the total price of item in the cart. So we want to work on the total price of the item that we have in our cart. I'm going to use the use effect hook to calculate the total price in our cart. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable for total. So here, let's get to work. This is to get the total amount. Okay, so I'm using the use effect hook. So use effects. Okay, and then open my curly braces. I'm creating a variable for total. I'm using the reduce method. Okay, I think I have. Alright, let us restart. Alright, so I'm creating a function here. Okay, so here total equals cat dot reduce. Open my brackets. Another one I'm passing accumulator and current item. I'm going to explain that very soon. I'm using the reduce method, don't forget that. I'm going to create a new variable for price as number. Then I want to convert it to a floating point number. I want to convert the current item, the price of the current item, the price. Okay. Now I'm using an if statement. If it's a number, if the price as number is a number, we're going to return accumulator. Return accumulator close price as number. Now we're going to multiply this by the current item, the amount. And here I'm going to initialize this with 0. So we use the set total to update the total. Okay. And here we're going to have carts. Okay, let me explain now. First thing I did was to use the use effect to calculate the price of the carts, the total price of the carts. I created a variable total, then use the reduce function to iterate over the carts array. Then the reduce function will take two arguments, accumulator and current item, in the cart array. Then I created another variable and I gave it a name price as number. Then I converted the price of the current item from string to a floating point number. That's what I did right here. So what price as number is storing is the conversion of the price, which was a string before. I converted it to a floating point number. I'm doing this because prices are often stored as string in data sets. So that's why I converted the price. That's why I converted the price of the current item to a floating point number, because prices are often stored as string. Now, this place is to check validity. We need to check for valid price as well. So I use an if statement to check the past price. If the past price is a valid number. If it is not, the function will simply return the current value of the accumulator. Here. Do you get? So if the price as number represents the current item, right? And we just convert it to a floating point number. Now we're checking if the price as number, if here, is not a valid number. That's why I used is not a this is not a number. We're checking if it is not a valid number. Let us simply return the accumulator. Okay, and if it is valid, it should return. The function is going to add the subtotal of the current item to the accumulator here, right here. So if the price is valid, the function adds the subtotal of the current item to the accumulator. This is the accumulator right here. This is the subtotal, sorry. This is the subtotal right here. It's going to add it to the accumulator. Then finally here, we just updated the total. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to update the total number of items in our carts. Okay, so when the user adds an item, we've done for total amount, that is the price. Okay, let me change this to total price. Okay, so what we want to do next now is to automatically update the total number of items in the cart. If let's say you have one item in the cart before, or 0 item in the cart, or 2 items in the cart, and then the user adds another item in the cart, we want to be able to update the total number of items that we have in our cart. That will be displayed in our nav bar. That will show that, okay, this is what I'm trying to say. So right now we have no item in the cart. Okay, so let's say I add an item to cart. As you can see, it has updated. We add another item to cart, it has updated. We add another item to cart, it has updated. Okay, so that is what we want to do now. We want to be able to automatically update the total number of items that will be in the cart. Here it's also showing that there are 3 items in the cart. Here it's also showing that the cart summary is showing that there are 3 items in the cart. So that is what we're doing right now. So I'm going to use the use effect tool to automatically update the total number of items in the cart. But first off, we need to do a quick check, and what we're checking is if there's anything in the cart before. Okay, let's get to the code. Okay, so I'm going to have my comments here. Update item in the cart. Update the item amount, or let me just add it that update the item quantity, because that is what we're trying to achieve basically. So I'm going to be using the use effects. Okay, creating a function. We need to check if we have any item in the cart. So if carts, open your curly braces, I'm creating a new variable, and I'm going to give it the name of amount. Okay. Okay, I need to use the reduce method, carts.reduce. I'm going to pass to accumulator and current item as the parameter. Oh, this is a function, and then I want to return accumulator plus the current item dot the amount, right? And I'm initializing it with 0. And here I'm going to set the item amount. I'm going to set the amount using the setter function, which is the set item amount. And also right here, I'm going to pass carts. Okay. Okay, now we're going to be passing it here. It is going to be Ctrl Z, and then cut this. It is going to be here. Alright. So let me explain what I did as well. So what I want to try and achieve is to update the item quantity in the cart. I use the use effect tool to automatically update the total number of items in the cart. We did a quick check and to see if there is anything in the cart. That's why we have the if statement. If there's anything in the cart, then I created a state variable for amount with the name amount, and I use the reduce method to iterate over each item in the cart, and I pass 2 arguments, which are accumulator and current item. These are the 2 arguments, accumulator and current item. Then I want to return the accumulator plus the current item times amount. And here, this is it. Okay. And the accumulator starts with 0. That's why I initialize it at 0. The initial value for the accumulator is 0. Then here, I updated the amount with the set amount. Okay. So in summary, what we did is that we used the use effect. We all know that the use effect is used to perform side effects in function components. So in this case, we're calculating the total quantity of item that we have in the cart. Okay, so we use this reduce here. Oh, come on. The reduce is to sum of the amount property of all items in the cart array. So it iterates over each item in the cart and adds up the amount value to produce a single total. Then the accumulator keeps track of the sum as it iterates over the carts. So the current item refers to the current item in the category during iteration, and the zero here is the initial value. Okay, so we use the set amount. After calculating the total amount of the cart, the result is going to be stored in the set amount. So we're updating the amount state using the set amount. And then there's something that we have here. I guess I didn't touch that too here. I think I forgot that. Okay, so basically the cart that we have here is the dependency array, and it is used at the end of the use effects, and it will tell React when to run the effects. Okay, so this is what it means. The cart as a dependency array means that the use effect will run its effects only when the cart's value changes. So if the cart is updated, maybe an item is added, removed, or modified, the effect will run again to calculate the total item amount and update the state to the main value. Okay, that is in this case. Okay, what I said basically is the cart here is a dependency array. Okay, and it will tell React when to run the use effects. Okay, so once the cart is updated, maybe an item is added, removed, or it is modified, the effect will run again to recalculate the total amount and update the state with the new value. Alright. So in this case as well, this is also the dependency array. So to get the total price here, the cart here is serving as the dependency array also. So when a new item is added or is removed or is modified, that is maybe increase or decrease or whatever, the effect will run again to recalculate the total price and update the total with the new value. Okay, so that is why we have this cart at the end. The cart at the end is called the dependency array. Okay, now that we're done with this, the next thing we need to do is to create a function that will be responsible for increasing the quantity of a specific item in the cart. Let me show you what I mean. What we want to do now is to create this function. As you can see, we can increase the quantity of a specific item. This is a specific item in our carts. Okay, so that is what we want to do. I'm increasing, I can decrease. We'll get to decrease later, but first of all, we need to create a function to increase the quantity of a specific item in the cart. Now to the code. Alright, so let me write my comments. Function responsible for increasing a specific, the quantity of a specific item or product, whichever way you want to write it. Okay, so I'm going to give the function, the name of the function is going to be increase amount. So here const increase amount, or you can have it as increase quantity, and it is going to take one parameter, which is going to be ID. The ID is going to serve as the unique identifier of the item in the cart that I want to increase, or that particular item I want to increase. But I'm going to use the find method to search through the cart to locate the item that matches the provided ID. Okay, then I'll use the add to cart function to increase the quantity by adding it to the cart again. Okay, now let's get to it. Const cart item equals cart dot find, and then we're going to pass item here as the parameter as well. Item that matches with the ID. Okay, then I'm going to add it to cart again. Cart item ID. Okay, so what I did was, okay, so what I did was to create a function that will be responsible for increasing the quantity of the specific item. Alright, so the name of the function is increase amount. You can have it as increase quantity, whichever way you want it. But once you have a comment at the beginning, you should understand the code when you go back to it. So now, the name of this function is increase amount, and it only took a single parameter, ID, this ID right here. The ID represents the unique identifier of the item in the cart, the specific item in the cart that I want to increase. Then now, right here, I use let me highlight it again. I use the find method to search through the cart to locate the item that matches the provided ID. Then use add to cart to the add to cart function. Remember that we have a function that is responsible for adding to cart. Okay, that is the add to cart function to increase the item quantity by adding it to the cart again. So that is it. Now the next thing we need to work on, the next thing is to create, this one is going to take function to reduce the quantity of a specific item in the cart. I'm also going to give it a very simple name, decrease amount. It's also going to take a single parameter, which is ID. And now I'm going to use the find method as well to get the item, cart item, cart.find item. Open my curly braces. I want to return the item that matches with the ID, right? So now we need to set a condition, because here the purpose of this code is to find the item that we want to decrease based on the ID. So the condition that we're going to set is that if the item truly exists, we need to decrease the item amount by 1. Okay, so here I'm going to check if the item exists. If cart item, then I'm going to have a new cart, which is going to use, I'm going to iterate over my cart. Okay, cart dot map. I'm passing item as the parameter. I would explain this soon. Okay, so we're going to check if the item dot ID, the particular item that I want to reduce, that I want to return, using the square operator, item, amount, cart item dot amount, and we're reducing it by 1. So what I did here just now is that I used the map method to create a new array, and I called it new carts, where each of the items in our cart based on their ID will be checked. So if the ID of an item matches the given ID of the amount that I want to decrease, the amount is going to be reduced by 1. And if it does not match, we need to return the item amount unchanged. So here I'm going to use an else statement. So if otherwise, we want to return the item unchanged without decreasing. Okay. Now I need to update my new cart. So here, set carts. I'm using the setter function to update my new cart. Right. So this will also take an else, just if it goes otherwise. We're going to check else if the cart item, the amount. So here we want to check if the cart item. Oh, sorry, this should be in bracket. Okay. If the cart item, the amount is less than 2, I'm going to remove. I'm calling the remove from cart function. Okay. So here, what this means is that if the amount of item in our cart is less than 1, we want to remove the entire. We're going to remove the specified item from cart. Okay. So let me just briefly explain again. The condition that we set is that we're checking if the cart item truly exists. That is, if the item in with the given ID is in the cart, we want to use the map method to create a new array, and we call it new cart, where each item in the cart is checked. So if the ID of an item matches the given ID, the item amount is going to be reduced. What we want to return is the item amount. The item amount is going to be reduced by 1, and if it doesn't, we want to return the item unchanged without decreasing anything. Okay, so now we're done with all of our logic. We need to apply it in other components. Okay, so now we need to add all of this to our values here in our short context provider. Remember that I said that the value here, all the values here, they are props that we pass, and it's going to contain the state and the function so that we can use it in every other component. So let's get to that. So here I can just start anyway. I'm going to have my cart states, add to cart function, remove from cart, because we're going to be doing that also. Clear cart, We're going to make that increase amount. We're going to make that increase amount. The item amount itself, the total, and I think that is all. Let us see. We're done for decrease, increase, updating quantity, total, clear carts, remove from carts, add to carts. Okay, now let us work on our cart page itself. Right. Alright, so now let's try adding an item to cart before we create our cart list. First off, we need to extract the add to cart function from our shop context. We already extracted our filter products from shop context. So here, I'm just going to add to carts because that's what we're trying to add. We have a function here to add to cart. If you remember, this is it right here. So that's basically, I just added this now. So let me give space. Now remember that it's this button that is adding to carts. So right here, all I'm going to do is use, oh, come on, and on click, okay. So I'm going to call the add to cart function. This is having add to cart, and then we're going to pass two arguments, products and ID. Okay, let's say we have, okay, to test if our add to cart button is working, let's, since we want to create a cart page, so in the nav bar, remember that if you add an item to cart, it's going to show in the cart icon of in the navigation bar. It's the item amount is going to show if it is an item or two or three. So here I'm going to extract item amount from the shop context. And remember that initially here I just gave it a value of 0. So I'm using my curly braces and this is the item amount. So now let us go right here. Let's try and add an item to cart. Can you see we have 2 items, 3 items, 4. I can reload. 0 item in the cart. This is 1 item in the cart, 2 items in the cart, 3 items, 4 items. We can add as many as possible, and it is going to update the cart, the item amount. So our add to cart button is working. Now the next thing we need to do is to create our cart page itself. So I'm just going to cancel this, just close this, close this, close this now. So the cart page. Now let us see the cart page that we're actually talking about. This is okay, so this is our cart page here. Let me try and add item. This is the cart. This is, I've already worked on this. This is what we're trying to do, right? Let me add more. So this is the cart page. Now, as you can see, the cart itself has the left and the right. The left section is where we have this header here, the cart header, and the cart detail itself. The detail contains the picture, the title of the cart, the title of the item, the remove icon, increment and decrement, the price, and the total price. So I can increase, the total price will increase. And on the left hand side, we have the cart summary, right? So let us work on the cart details first off, so that we can now integrate it in our cart page itself. The cart detail is all of this. The picture, the name, increment and decrement, price, and all of that. This is the cart detail. While the cart page itself is contained left and right. The left contains the header and the cart details, while the right contains the cart summary. So let's work on the cart details first off. So I'm going to create another file here, and I'm going to name it cart details.gsx. Okay, REFCE. So create, this is a shortcut to create the functional React app, if you remember, right? So now we need, let me delete this. Okay, so I'm going to create a div tag and give it a class name of cart item. So inside the cart item is where we're going to have our cart details. Okay, since we're working with item here, we're going to pass item as our parameter, and then we need to destructure our item. Destructure item. So const ID, we need ID, we need title, we need image, we need price, we need amount, and everything is for our item, right? There's something else that we need. This icon here is to remove a specific item from the cart. So if I click on this, this is going to be removed. Remember that we already have the functionality in our shop context. That means that we have to extract the remove. Let me see, what did we name it? Okay, we named this remove from cart. That means we need to extract remove from cart from our shop context. Also, for the increment and the decrement, we have the functionality already, we have the functions already in our shop context. That means that we have to extract this as well. This is to clear our cart, the entire cart. That means that we need to extract that as well from the cart. Okay, so now back to our cart details that we're working on before. Before extraction, we need to first import shop context. Import shop context from shop context. Now, oh, we need to extract extract necessary functions from shop context, right? What we need now, what we need to extract is remove from carts. We have a function that is responsible for that already. We need to extract increase amount to increase, and we need to extract decrease amounts as well from shop context, right? Let me close this so that we can have larger space. So we just extracted all the necessary functions that we're going to be using right in this cart details. Then we can now continue with our code. I'm going to create a div tag, and I'm going to give it a class name of product quantity, product detail, product detail. The product detail is going to contain the image and the product info. The product info is the title of the image. So in the product detail, I'm going to have image. Here, I'm going to pass image. Okay, and the alt name is going to be the title of the product, right? Next thing I'm going to do is to create another div tag, and this is going to be for the product info. So inside the product info, we're going to have an h3 tag that is going to take the title of the product. Okay, and also I'm going to have another div tag for cart item remove. Cart item remove, the icon that is going to take cart item remove. So I'm going to look for the trash icon. That's what we're using. So we have a suggested list of. So I'm using the second one. Okay, I'm just going to have remove right here. Now for this icon, we want to be able to click on the icon. If we click on the icon, we should be able to remove the product, the item from our cart. Okay, so I'm going to use an on-click function, and then on-click method, and then here the function that we're going to call is remove from cart, and we're removing based on ID. Okay, so we're done with the product detail. Next thing we need to do is quantity. So I'm creating another div and I'm giving it quantity. So in the quantity, we are going to have the plus and minus. So we're going to have two buttons times 2. We're going to have 2 buttons. So the first button here, we want to be able to remove. So I'll look for the icon for remove. So we have a suggested list of. So I'm going for this one. So this is to remove, and between the 2 buttons, we're going to have a span tag, and the span tag is going to take amount. Okay, and the second button is to add, that is to increase the quantity. So I'm just going to look for the icon that I want. Let me see. So I'm using this icon. Okay, so now we need to do something. For this button, we want to create a scenario that when you click on the button which contains the remove icon, you should be able to decrease amounts. So here I'm going to use an on-click function, and here I'm going to call the decrease amount function that I've extracted. Okay, and for this second button, I'm going to do the same thing to add. So this is going to take this increase amount based on ID. I'm going to pass ID as the argument. So this is okay. Now I'm going to create another div tag and create a class name of price. So here we're going to have our price in dollars. This is going to take one curly braces and price. Okay. Then I'm going to create another div tag for the total price, and this as well is going to take a curly braces. Okay, before that, curly braces, I'm going to use a backtick. Okay, so I want to pass float. I'm going to explain what I'm doing here now, but to fit two decimal places. Okay, so for the total, we want to have it in two decimal places. That is it here. So the total, we're calculating it from the price times the amount. This amount right here. So the total is price times amount. The price of all the items in our cart multiplied by the amount. And we want it to be in two decimal places. So that's basically what I did just now. Now that we're done with the cart detail, we need to work on the cart itself. So we're now on our cart page itself. We are going to import shop context first off. Import shop context. Okay, from our shop context. Then I'm going to import cart details. Right, details. Okay. Now that we have shop context, we have cart details. We need to extract. We need to extract cart. We need to extract color cart. We need to extract total, and we need to extract item amount. This is it. This is the item amount. This is the clear cart. This is the total here. So that is what we're going to extract, and the cart itself. So now I'm extracting carts, clear carts, total, item amount from our shop context. Shop context, right? Okay. Now we can now work on our carts. Okay, remember that we are yet to add our cart page at all. So in our app.gsx, first off, the carts here, this is going to take /carts, and the elements that we want to render, the components that we need to render here is going to be for carts. Okay. All right. I need to import carts from ./component/cart/carts. Okay, so we can see now. So now back to the cart page. I'm just going to delete this. Remember when I showed you the carts, you had left and right. So I'm going to create a div tag with the class name of cart container. So in the cart container, I'm going to have the cart left, and I'm also going to have another div tag for cart right. Okay, in the cart left, we're going to have our cart header dot cart header, and in the cart header, we're going to have an h1 tag for shopping carts, another h1 tag which is going to take the number of items. So item amount, I've extracted this already. So items, this is showing the number of items. And then to clear our cart as well, I'm going to use the trash icon. Okay. And I'm going to give it a class name of delete carts. Delete carts. So I'm just going to close this. Now we're going to use an on-click function because we want a scenario where if the user clicks on this particular icon, it should delete the entire cart. So on-click, clear carts. I've already extracted clear carts from our shop context. So for us to see all of this that is going on, remember that we have to click on our cart icon in the navigation bar. So we need to work on this as well. We need to create the link such that when you click on this cart icon, it takes you to the cart page. So back to my number, this is it. This cart here, Ctrl X, right? I'm going to use the link tag, close the tag, and then I'm going to Ctrl V, paste what I just closed here, and the path that this is taking, this is to /carts, right? Let me see if my link tag was imported at all. So I need to import link from my actual tab DOM. Okay, so everything should be working well. Remember that here, while we do the routing, this is the part that we used. So this part must correlate with the one in our navbar, or whichever place you want to put your cart. So this is it. So now, as you can see, the color of this cart has changed because I didn't set the color for my links. Okay, so if you click on this cart now, you should be seeing our cart page, right? So this is it now. You can now see what we're trying to do. We're not seeing our cart details yet because we're yet to implement that. We only created the code. We're yet to implement it in our cart page itself. So let's continue. Now back to my cart page. I've done for clear carts. What next? So also in the left section of my cart, I'm going to have my cart details, right? So I'm creating a div tag with a class name of cart detail. Okay, here I'm going to map. Before mapping, I need to use a ternary operator to check whether the cart has more than 0 items. That is more than an item. If it does, then I'm going to map over the cart item and display my cart details. If it does not have any item, I'm going to display your cart is empty. Okay, so now cart.length, length. I want to check if it is greater than 0. Here is where the mapping comes in. I'm going to map the cart and I'm passing item as the parameter. Okay, so now I'm going to render my cart details, right here, and then I'm going to close this, and then right here, since we're using a ternary operator, if it doesn't, we want to have a p tag. Oh, come on, a p tag that would tell us that our cart is empty. Okay, for the cart details, I need to pass item as props, and the key also, I need to pass it. So for each of the cart details, I'm passing the item here as props, item. Also, we need a unique identifier so that we can display the details based on their ID. So the ID will serve as the unique identifier. So this is for the left section. Let me close this to make it bigger. Now to the right section where we have our cart summary. Okay, so let's see. Before we continue with cart right, let us see. Let me try and add an item to cart. 1, 2, 3 items in the cart. So we're having an error. Okay, so let me inspect. Let's see. Cannot read properties of undefined reading lengths at cart at render with hooks. Okay, so there's an issue with our hooks. Let's see. Okay, so our hook here. Oh, okay. This we're extracting. We're using use context, not use state. This is not a state. So Control D. I just highlighted and I use Control D. So I'm changing this to context. Let's see. Okay, so now we're back. Right, it's showing that our cart is empty right now. So let me try and add an item. Let us see. You can see we have this. We have the item, the title, and the icon. Okay. So we need to work on the right hand side as well, the cart summary. So we're back now. In our cart summary, we're going to have an H2 tag with cart summary. Then I'm going to have another div tag with a class name of summary item. So here I'm going to have two span tags. The first is going to be items, and the second is going to take item amounts. right? And then we're going to have another div type with the class name of cart summary. Okay, so in the cart summary, we're going to have for shipping. So I'm creating a div tag for summary item again, and I'm going to have two span tags. The first one is going to take shipping. By the way, for this particular project, the shipping is free, so I'm just going to do shipping free. Then right here, I'm going to have another div tag, summary item, with another class name of total cost. So this is for total costs. Two span tags. The first one is going to take total costs, and the second one is also going to take total cost. But we need to check if it is a number. So a dollar sign, so is none. We're checking if it is a number. If total is a number, I'm going to use a ternary operator to do that. If it is not a number, display 0. But if it is, display the total. Right? So after this, we're going to have a button, a checkout button with a class name of checkout. And here we're going to have checkout. Okay, so basically this is the cart summary. This everything. Now we need to style. Now to our CSS, we need to open. Let me close shop context. The number. Alright, so I'm going to import my CSS file into my CSS file. /cart.css. Right, so we're going to start with our cart container. Oh, come on. Okay, cart container display is going to be flex. Justify content space between, and I'm going to have the padding of 20 pixels. Now we're going to start with left. So for cart left, the width is going to take 65% of the screen, and background, what did I say? Background color is going to take white. Padding is going to take 20 pixels as well. Now to the right hand side. Come on. Okay, so the width for this is going to take 30% of the screen. I'm going to have a padding of 20 pixels as well. And with a padding top of 60 pixels. Now we'll get back to the left section. We need to start with our cart header. Sorry. For the cart header, display is going to be flex. Display flex. Justify content space between. Margin top of 20 pixels should do it. And the font weight will be bold. Padding of 10 pixels. And the border button. Just the 2 pixels solid with this color code. Remember that we have delete cart icon here in our cart header. So our cart header, the delete icon in the cart header, I'm going to set the font size to just 2 pixels. Now in our cart header as well, we have our span tag. In short, we have 2 span tags. So I'm setting the font size for both to 20 pixels. Margin left of 90 pixels. Right? So we have these cart details here, which is where. So now we have to move to cart item. If we're following the order up, should we just keep going for cart details? Okay, let's continue with the right. Cart right. We have an H2 tag, right? So the font size for that is going to take 24 pixels, and the margin bottom is going to be 20 pixels. Now for the summary item, display is going to be flex, justify content space between, and margin bottom of 10 pixels. Remember that we have total cost. So summary item, and where is the total cost? This total cost right here. For total cost, the font width should be bold and the font size is going to take 26 pixels. What next? We have our checkout. This is supposed to be an O checkout button. So for the checkout button, what is wrong with you? Highlight this and copy it. Oof. Okay, so the width of this is going to take 100% of the card summary size. The background color is going to be orange. The text color is going to be white. Padding of 15 pixels. Border, we're setting it to none. Cursor is going to take pointer, and margin top is going to be 20 pixels. So this is it right here. Now we need to work on the cart details. So let me add an item to cart. So we'll see what we're working on. This is what our cart detail look like. So let's work on the cart details. So right here in the cart details, we need to start with the cart item. So I'm going to start the cart detail in cart.css as well, because we've already imported cart detail into cart.gsx. Okay. So for the cart item, display is going to be flex, justify contents, space between, align all the items. I want every item at the center. Margin is going to be 20, margin top is going to take 20 pixels. The padding will take 10 pixels, and then the border bottom is going to be 1 pixel solid with this color code. Right? Next is the product details. So for the product details, display is going to be flex as well. Justify the content, space between, align all the items in the center, and max width is going to be 50%. Now we have an image in the product details. So for product details image, the width is going to be 60 pixels, the height will also take 60 pixels, and the margin right is going to take 20 pixels. What next? We have our product info. So copy, paste it here. So for the product info, margin is going to be 0, and the font size is going to take 18 pixels. Okay, no, the H3 tag in the product info, sorry. Also, we have a P tag in the product info. So the color is going to take this color code, and the margin is going to take 5 pixels. Okay. Then we have a button. Okay, this is supposed to be a button actually, not a div. Okay, no, the button I meant was for this quantity. So this is what we have now. Now let us work on this quantity. Okay, so for quantity, I'm just going to copy and then paste it here. Display is flex, align items at the center. So the quantity has button, right? It has 2 buttons. So the quantity and then button. The width is going to take 30 pixels. Height will take 30 pixels as well. The ground color will take this color code. Border will be set to none. Cursor will be pointer. Display will be flex. Align items at the center. Justify contents at the center. And the font size for the icon is going to be 18 pixels. Okay, so what else do we have? We have a span tag here, if you remember. So the quantity, the span, or common span, let me type it. So for the span, it's not, we're using the tag, so it's not a cluster. Margin will be set to 0.10 pixels, right? What else do we have? We have the div for price, and for total as well. So for price and for total, the font size is going to be 18 pixels, and the color is going to take this color code. So this is what we have. So we can add, we can increase, can you see? We can decrease, we can clear our carts, we can add to carts. So this is it. It is updating 311, that is 5 items in the cart. You can clear your carts whichever way. So let's see the next thing we need to do. So we're done with our cart section. Now, another thing we can do, another thing we're going to learn here is how to view product details, each product. So this is it. If you click on the image, you can see it directed to the detail of the product, and you can also add to cart from the details. If you click on this detail, you can see the image of the product as well. So let's work on that. So we're done with the cart. We're just going to close our cart file. Now we need to head back to our product details. Before that, we need to work on our routing system. So the route for product details, for this route, we're going to implement a dynamic path. So for product detail routing, we're going to implement a dynamic path. Okay, this is going to be slightly different in the sense that we're going to be putting the property in the URL. That means the dynamic path is for product details and the ID is the property that we're going to be adding. So we're going to be, let me show you what I'm trying to say. This is route. So in the path, we are going to have, so we start with a forward slash, then for products, forward slash, we start with the column and the property that we want to use for our routing. So in this case, we're using our ID. Okay. So what this done, let me render the elements. The elements that we want to use here is product details. Right. So then I'm going to close this as well. So I'm going to import product details on the page. Okay, so what this line of code does is that it will inform React that our URL can be different. That is, it can change based on the ID. So we want to be able to click on, we want to be able to view a product based on ID. We want to be able to view a specific product, then we click on it, okay, based on the ID. So that's basically what we just did here. Now back to the product details. Also, before that, what we want to be able to click on is the image and the title, right? So we need to set that in the link as well. So I'm going to go to product list. Okay, what we want to be able to click on is the image and this product info basically. So I'm going to use Ctrl X, just cut it out. Then I will use my link tag from the React router down. I need to import the link as well. Import link from React router down. Okay, now we can continue. So within the link tag, I'm just going to paste what I cut earlier. Now I need to set the path to, so I'll use backticks forward slash products forward slash and a dollar sign here, curly braces. This is going to have ID. Okay, and the key, which will serve as the unique identifier, is also going to be an ID. So now, as you can see, it's showing that we have a link because we're yet to style our links. So if you click on the image showing you product detail, and the URL is different in the sense that the URL I show you is for product and the ID of the product is for the fourth product. If I click on the first one, the ID of the product changes. Okay. Click on the sixth product, the ID of the URL changes as well. So we need to work on this link, the color of our links. So I'll add to my index.css. For every link, text decoration, none, and the color should be black. Let us see. Now everything is back to normal. So it is working perfectly well. Now let us work on our product detail. Let's add content to it. So I'm going to close my index.css, close my product list. Now I'm on my product details. Delete this. Then I'm going to create a div tag for the class name of products details. Click enter. We have the left and the right side. Click dot detail left. And then we have another div for detail right. Okay, before we add every other content, we need to import the necessary things. So we need to import use params. We need to import params from React Router DOM. What use param does is that it's going to return all of the parameters available for the product details page. Okay, so here I'm going to import use params from React Router DOM. And then I'm going to import product data as well from our data. I'm also going to import shop context because we need to extract the add to cart function. Shop context. Okay, so right here, I'm going to extract add to cart function. So use context is shop context. Right, so we're done with this. The next thing we need to do is to get products based on their ID. Get products based on ID. So here we're going to extract ID from use params. Okay, I said earlier that ID is going to return all of the parameters available for the product details. So here we're trying to get the ID from the product details. Okay, this code here is to get the product ID. Get product ID. Now we need to get products based on ID. Get products based on ID. So here I'm creating a variable for products, and then we're going to use the find method to find all of the products based on their ID, and we're going to convert it to an integer. The ID is to integer. So product data dot find into products, or not caps lock, product. Then I want to return product dot ID pass int. We're converting the ID to an integer. Right, so now we can now work on the product details. So on the left hand side, we're going to have an image. So I'm replacing this, so with dot image. Okay, so on the product data, you can see the lower hand is we have the ID, image, title, price, category, and description. So here we have the product.image, and on the right hand side, we're going to have the product title, and then we're also going to have the product price. So P tag with a class name of product price. So here I'm going to have product the price, another P tag for description. So in the description, we need to have product the description. Next up is our button, our add to cart button. That will say add to cart. And here we should be able to click on the button. If we click on the button, we should be able to add the product to our cart. So I'm going to use an on click function. Remember that I extracted the add to cart function earlier. So add to cart, and this is going to take two arguments, products and ID. So this is what we have in our product detail. We're going to style it, so that is what it's looking like this. So if you click on the button, you've added the item to cart. Let me reload it so you can see what I'm talking about. Right now the cart icon. So we need to style this now. So I'm just going to open my product details, the CSS, but first I need to import it here in my JSX file. So import the / product details.css. So right here, I'm going to have product detail. I'm just going to copy this. Come on, copy. Then I paste it here. Display is going to be flex. Padding will take 80 pixels. Down for the details left, I'm going to copy it as well. The width is going to take 460 pixels. Okay, the image in the details left is true. What we have in the left detail is an image, right? Next is to the details right. Why is this happening? Come on, come on. So for the right detail, padding is going to take 70 pixels. We have an H3 element in the right detail. So the font size, I mean set to 30 pixels. Then we have product price in the right details as well. So for details right, product price, the font size is going to be 22 pixels. The text color is going to be orange, and margin top is going to take 10 pixels. Then we have the description. So right details, description, the font size is going to be 20 pixels. The color will take this color code, and the margin top for this will take 15 pixels. Also, we have a button in our details right. So for the button, padding 1 rem for the width, 3.6 rem for, sorry, 1 rem for the height, 3.6 rem for the width. The margin top is going to take 15 pixels. Border will be set to none. Background orange, and the text color will be white. So this is it right here. This is what our product detail is going to look like for every product. So you can just view any product of your choice. This is what you're going to have. Any product at all, this is what you're going to see on your screen. This is a very basic product detail. You can add as much as you want, right? So what next? I think the final thing is our footer. Let's work on our footer and we'll make it responsive. So I'm done with product details. I'm just going to close this as well, close this. Next is the footer. So in my app.gss, I need to mount my footer in my app.gss. Okay, I'll open my footer now. I'm deleting this. So I'm creating a div tag. I'll give the class name of footer. In the footer, we're going to have another div tag for footer content. And then we're going to have another div tag for footer socials. And then finally, okay, the footer socials is going to be in the footer content. So let me just cut this. This is going to be in the footer content. Before the footer social, we need the footer name. Okay. So finally here, we're going to have the copyright section. Okay. Now for the footer name, we're going to have an H2 tag that will say logo here. So the logo is going to be here. And now for the socials, we're going to have our social media icons like Facebook. React is going to suggest a few icons for us, so we can just choose from whichever one we like. So I'm going for the first one, and I'll give you the class name of footer icon. Okay, so we are going to have Instagram, and I'm going to select the first one as well. Let me copy this class name because that's what I'm using for all of my social media icon. And then we're going to have Twitter. Twitter is now X now, so I'm just going to paste this as well. Now for our copyright section, we're going to have a P tag that will take us copyrights. Okay, now let us tell. Let's see what we have. So this is what we have. So let's tell. I'm going to import /footer.css. I'm going to start with footer. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. I need to open my footer.css. Come on, copy this. Alright, paste this. The background color is going to be black. The text color for the entire footer is going to be white. Padding bottom is going to take 3 rem. Now for footer content, come on. So for footer content, display is going to be flex. Justify content, space between. Padding of 30 pixels. Border bottom of 2 pixels solid, and this color code. Now we have the socials and all of that. So for footer social, I want to start the icon of the socials actually. So for all of the icon, each of the icons, the font size is going to be 22 pixels, and margin left is going to take 10 pixels. Now for the copyright section, text align. I want the text in the center, padding of 15 pixels. Okay, so this is what we have. We need to add bottom of 0 to the footer container. So bottom here is 0. So this is what we have now. So let's make this responsive.